In this video, I'm going to be going through all of the leaked zombie maps that could be coming to the Black Ops Cold War Zombies DLC season after the launch of this game and after the launch of Die Maschine and the Nocturne Toten survival map. There's a lot of different maps here, mostly remakes and remasters, but some new ones as well. The Vietnam map for DLC 1, the potential for Transit Buried and Die Rise to return, Kino being remade, The Giant being remade, Mob of the Dead, Nuketown 5, Call of the Dead getting faithfully remastered. A lot of stuff here. Playable versions of these remakes back from Black Ops 4 that could be returning. So I want to go through all of the leaks here, everything you guys need to know about the possible leaked maps coming to Black Ops Cold War Zombies. So a lot of content in this video. If you can leave a like on this video, it's greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel for more Black Ops Cold War content. We're extremely close to 60,000 subs. So seriously, thank you for the support. It's been unreal recently. Shout out to the members as always. And let's get started here. Let's first start off with the new content, the Vietnam Zombies map, not a remake. It's been something that was leaked in the pre-alpha build of Black Ops Cold War. It was known as ZM_Pink, Firebase Z as well. So this map has been talked about, been hinted for a while now. The Game Revolution has talked a lot about this map, and we've been seeing stuff about the Vietnam Zombies map potentially being at launch as a second main map for Black Ops Cold War Zombies. Some people even saying it might be the celebrity cast map for the launch of the game, but it looks like now we are not going to see this Vietnam Zombies map at launch, and we may actually see it for DLC 1 or slightly later on. And we're thinking this because the achievements came out for Black Ops Cold War Zombies, and there aren't any achievements for a Vietnam Zombies map. Maybe there aren't any achievements because they want to keep it as a secret and hidden for launch, but most likely there would be achievements for this Zombies map. Also, I've heard that it may have been delayed. The Game Revolution talks about it potentially being with DLC 1 as well. I think that's very likely, especially since Black Ops Cold War Season 1 is beginning in December. I could easily see them releasing the Vietnam Zombies map at the beginning of Season 1 in December. It gives them an extra month to work on it, and it spreads out the releases. So at launch, we could focus on Die Maschine, the Easter eggs, having fun on that map, and then a month later in December, we could focus on the Vietnam Zombies map, the storyline, the Easter egg, and all of that good stuff. This Vietnam Zombies map may have been delayed. Maybe it was always planned on releasing for the Season 1 launch of Black Ops Cold War, but regardless, it's in December. It should be pretty soon, and if not, we're going to see it at some point in the DLC season because there is a lot of evidence for a Vietnam Zombies map in Black Ops Cold War. We obviously have the code that was in the alpha, pre-alpha versions of the game, but also in the intro cutscene of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, we have Weaver looking at a bunch of different locations on these maps. One obviously is Morosco in Poland, which is the location of Die Maschine, and another one here is the Dong Hoi region in Vietnam. And apparently, it's also the same location of the Khe Sanh combat base located in the hills west of that city. And it's a combat base that was also seen in the SOG or SOG campaign mission in the original Black Ops 1. I saw this from the Game Revolution, and he apparently got it from Phantom Ice, so their links will be down in the description below. That's a pretty interesting find there. If we look at the SOG mission, what does it look like? I'm looking at the basic map elements here. What is a Vietnam Zombies map going to look like in Cold War? This mission here doesn't really look like a Vietnam map, or at least what you would think a Vietnam map would look like. It's not as much of a jungle. It's more sandy, and it's more of just like a flat grassland, sandy type area. I think if they made a Vietnam Zombies map, they're probably not going to go in that route, but this is the location, the Khe Sanh combat base that we saw in Black Ops 1 campaign. This is what it looked like, at least depicted in Black Ops 1. So there definitely is a good chance that this Vietnam Zombies map looks like this, but it also could look like a bunch of the actual Vietnam Black Ops Cold War campaign missions. You're looking at one that was just revealed up on screen. This looks really sick. Definitely different from what we're seeing in the Black Ops 1 campaign SOG mission in this same location. Now, this Vietnam Black Ops Cold War campaign mission might be in a slightly different area. It's Firebase Ripcord, and we know this from the achievements as well. There's an achievement based in Firebase Ripcord, and this mission obviously could be in a pretty similar location here. The zombies map, again, could be different, but from what we're looking at here, in the intro cutscene of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, it's pretty much in a very close location to Firebase Ripcord and also pointing right at Kson in the Black Ops 1 campaign mission. So it's going to be somewhere in this area. I think it's going to look more like the Black Ops Cold War campaign mission just because that's what the assets that they have. It's going to look a lot nicer. They're probably going to make it look a lot more green. That would be a really cool map to see. So we could be looking at a little sneak peek of what this zombie map could really look like in this game. Now, that's the only evidence we have for a new original DLC Zombies map coming to Black Ops Cold War. Pretty much all of the other leaks and the information that we have received are for remakes and remasters. Now, I know most of you guys, me included, want Treyarch to produce original Black Ops Cold War zombie maps, new story, new settings. We want them to prioritize that. But if they get that done, if they give us at least 3 or 4 new original zombie maps, I don't mind them adding a couple of other remakes to the mix. As I go through a bunch of these remasters and remakes of past zombie maps to be coming in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, let me know down below what are some of the remakes and remasters you want to see in the game. I would say pick 2. 2 would be a solid bet. 4 original maps, 2 remasters or remakes. Think about with Modern Warfare, we had 6 seasons. If we get 1 new zombie map per season, we could have 4 new maps for 4 of the seasons, and then 2 remakes thrown in the mix as well for a total of 6 seasons. That would be pretty interesting there, and I think a lot of people would kind of be okay with that. Now, the first 2 maps here were leaked and rumored to be coming to Black Ops Cold War Zombies. These maps are huge surprises to me because I didn't think these maps would be brought back into this game. They seem kind of random, but maybe they could make sense. The first one here is Kino and The Giant. The second one is The Giant. So first with Kino, there apparently is a code found, and I think the alpha of Black Ops Cold War. It's ZM_platinum, and apparently it's some sort of expanded Kino and The Giant. We're hoping that Kino and The Giant, if it is remade, would be a minority of the map, and a majority of the map, the rest of the map, would be a new location, preferably outside of Kino, in the city of Berlin, throughout the city of Berlin. So most of the map is pretty much like a Berlin city map, and there's a small section which is the original Kino. Maybe they could make it like Revelations, where pretty much only the theater room of Kino is on this Kino and The Giant remake, and then the rest of Kino is all just a new location. That would make it so this Kino remake isn't really just the same content over and over again. It's pretty much like a new map, just similar to Kino and in the same setting as Kino. If that's the case, that would be pretty sick to see. Now, The Giant as well, that's a crazy situation. The Giant being remade again would be kind of crazy. And again, if they were to remake The Giant, they need to make it so most of the map is a new area. Most of the map is outside of the original factory that we see in Derice and in The Giant in Black Ops 3. And they could do a lot of crazy stuff with this here. You're seeing up on screen Derice declassified gameplay. This is a custom zombies map for Black Ops 3 that was just released, and there's a Easter egg for it. There's a lot of different stuff on it. It's a really sick map, and honestly, if they remade The Giant, they added new locations to it, they expanded the map, and they had a full-fledged main Easter egg, just like Derice Declassified has, that would be really sick, and I think a lot of people would actually be down with that. Again, I know it seems crazy. The Giant doesn't seem like a zombies map that would be remade, brought back again, but I think if it is the case, again, like I said with Kino, The Giant should be a small portion of the map. Majority of the map should be new rooms, new areas, new locations outside of the factory, and having a main Easter egg, a boss battle, all of this different stuff for The Giant remake would be really cool to see. Now, the most polarizing one, I would say, is a transit remake. It's not like a myth. It's not like this random thing we've been talking about. We've been talking about it for a reason. Originally, we were supposed to see it in Black Ops 4, and I'm going to go through a bunch of the other Black Ops 4 remakes that we could see in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, but let's focus on Transit for a second. We were supposed to see it remade in Zombies Chronicles 2 in the second DLC season of Black Ops 4. That got scrapped because Treyarch had to come and work on COD 2020 because of the issues between Sledgehammer and Raven. We know about that already, but a bunch of leakers, a bunch of different sources were sending the Game Revolution different tweets, different gifs of Transit. They were teasing Transit to TGR, and TGR, a bunch of other people, were constantly getting information that Transit would be in the game. I mean, he said as recent as September that Transit and Nocturne Totem are back in the game. There's also been evidence for a Transit remake all the way back in Black Ops 4. It has assets in Blackout. The bus depot is there. We have different teases in COD Mobile. COD Mobile is always teasing Ted, different Transit characters, different Transit locations. There's a lot of different stuff here. The Woo Lads, which are a bunch of leakers, leaked this back in May of 2019 that Transit would be remade. So there's so much stuff here for Transit, and I think out of all of the possible remakes that we could see in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, I think Transit is honestly the most likely to be brought into the game. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, Transit's a terrible map, I don't want Transit to return, but it's polarizing, it's popular, and you do know if they remake Transit, it is going to get so much traction. And if they remake Transit correctly and they actually turn it into a good map, that would be insane. That would be just beautiful to see. The leaks had told us that Transit would be a launch map for Black Ops Cold War Zombies. That again doesn't look as likely, and I think TGR got more information that Transit would be delayed and just wouldn't be at launch. It would be later on in the DLC season. Now, I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they just want to start off with D Machina, that's it, and bring us Transit later on in the cycle, maybe the end of the DLC season for Black Ops Cold War Zombies. I could definitely see that happening, but if anything, Transit should be remade out of all of these maps here, and I do think, again, that it has the most likely chance of coming back to the game. We have a couple more maps here. Let's shift over to the evidence that we had for Black Ops 4. The Woo Lads were a bunch of leakers. They've been very accurate in the past, and this is what they said back in 2019. So we keep getting asked about zombies in 2019 through 2020. Zombies will continue on Black Ops 4 outside of the first Black Ops pass. Chaos is finished for this season, but not for Black Ops 4. Ether will be the rest of this season, and that obviously came out to be true because we got Alpha Omega for DLC 3 and Tagged or Totem for DLC 4. Maps in production will be listed in the following tweet. Nuketown, Call of the Dead, Green Run Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. These maps are planned to have their own Gauntlet, Grief, and possibly Turned modes. The second season of Black Ops 4 Zombies will have 2 more Chaos maps with some of the aforementioned Ether maps. They also go on to say 5 and Mob of the Dead may be faithfully remastered too, instead of reimagined as they currently are on Black Ops 4. This is subject to development changes. Call of the Dead is planned to be a faithful remaster, whereas Transit is planned to be a bit more unique. It's kind of crazy to think that Treyarch had all of these different zombie maps in production. Unfortunately, again, we didn't get a second Black Ops pass for Black Ops 4. First reason, obviously, Black Ops 4 didn't end up being that popular, but I think the main reason is that they had to develop Cold War. So a lot of these maps that they made for Black Ops 4 could easily be brought over to the Cold War DLC season. Now, let's go through a bunch of these maps here. We talked about Transit, obviously. Die Rise, there have been leaks for Die Rise actually having some sort of playable build, some build that was produced for Black Ops 4 Zombies. So this map could be fully developed. There probably is some sort of pre-alpha gameplay of Die Rise remastered that's out there, or remade out there somewhere, that they have the assets for. Treyarch probably has, and all they need to do most likely is finish it up and release it. So that could easily be something that we're seeing later on or at some point in the Black Ops Cold War Zombies DLC season. Another map here, the third map that we have not seen ever remastered or remade, is Buried. Buried, again, a part of the leak, and there was also another leak that there was an old playable pre-alpha version of Buried on Black Ops 4. So again, Black Ops 4, this wasn't just a random leak that they were supposed to be remaking these maps. I mean, there are playable builds of these remade maps somewhere out there. At least that's what we're hearing from the leakers. And again, maybe they scrapped it, maybe they deleted it, and honestly, there's a good chance that we never see any of these remade or remastered zombie maps. So this is definitely not a confirmation here, but based on the sources, the leakers had said that there was an early build playable of Die Rise remade and also Buried remade. remade. Buried was also seen in Blackout as well, so there are a bunch of assets for Buried already in Black Ops 4, and again, it just goes to show you Treyarch planned on bringing a lot of these maps back. It's just a matter of them bringing the assets from Black Ops 4 over to Cold War Zombies and inserting it into the DLC season of this game. Again, like I said, every single zombie map besides for Buried, Die Rise, and Transit has either been remade or remastered. These are the only 3 maps that we have not seen brought back into the game. Every other map was either remade, like Blood of the Dead, Call of the Dead into Tactor and Toten, Nuketown into Alpha Omega. Then we saw all of the Zombie Chronicle maps, which were most of the World at War Black Ops 1 zombie maps that were brought back into Black Ops 3. But Buried, Die Rise, and Transit, still, we have not seen either remade or remastered. So if anything, these are pretty likely to be brought into the game, and there's a lot of evidence for these maps to eventually come to the game at some point. Now, the last couple maps here that the Woo Lads talked about back in 2019 are very interesting. I think these are the least likely maps to return out of all the remakes and remasters we've been talking about. But it definitely would be pretty cool and very interesting to see these maps return. So the Woo Lads had said that 5 and Mob of the Dead may be faithfully remastered and not just reimagined like they were in Black Ops 4. So at the beginning of Black Ops 4, we got 5 remade, which was Classified, and Mob of the Dead remade, which was Blood of the Dead. Clearly, Blood of the Dead, the reception for that map wasn't that good. Classified, however, I think Classified's a pretty solid map, and most people kind of like Classified as a remake, but Blood of the Dead people just did not like the actual layout. The remade layout of Mob of the Dead didn't add much to the flow and the gameplay of Blood of the Dead. I think a lot of the reason why people don't like Blood of the Dead is that the new areas that were added to Mob of the Dead, the starting room area, it's so disconnected from the main map that you spawn in this new area in Blood of the Dead, and then you go along this tight pathway to the main area of Mob of the Dead, and there's no real reason to ever go back to the spawn room. There's no real reason to ever go back to the new areas that were added that make up Blood of the Dead. I talked about this in my video back in September. Mob of the Dead being faithfully remastered kind of would be a vibe. Like, that would be a pretty cool thing. Mob of the Dead, one of my favorite maps, probably my favorite map of all time, a lot of people's favorite zombie maps of all time, and honestly, it being faithfully remastered, the same type of Easter egg, the Blundergat, all of this different stuff, not messing with the layout of the map, would be a pretty cool thing to see. Again, we would only want this map to be faithfully remastered if in fact we already have at least 4 new original zombie maps. If they have extra time, if Zombies is extremely popular this year and a lot of people just want more Zombies content, and Activision says, you know what, Treyarch, make some more zombie maps, I could easily see them bringing back Mob of the Dead, faithfully remastered into the game. That would bring a ton of hype to the game, and now that the Call of Duty community is bigger than ever, that would be a huge deal, because Mob of the Dead is a lot of, OG zombie players' favorite maps as well, because Black Ops 2, it's been 8 years. It's been a long time now. Mob of the Dead came out, I think, a little over 7 years from now, so it's kind of crazy how long it's been. And I think it deserves to be faithfully remastered with new next-gen graphics. It would be such a nice thing to see. Now, on the other hand, 5 being faithfully remastered, I don't really think we need that, honestly. And nothing against 5. I think Classified was a pretty good, almost a perfect remake for the map. And I think seeing the original 5 back in the game just isn't necessary. Now, again, these were plans that Treyarch had for the Black Ops 4 Black Ops Pass for the 2019-2020 season, the second version of the Black Ops Pass. Now, again, these ideas are still there. I don't know if they actually have any, pre-alpha builds of 5 and Mob of the Dead faithfully remastered, but I feel like those are at the back burner now of Treyarch's plans. Their main goal, it seems like, is to craft this new story to pull ahead with the Dark Ether. But you have to think about how the Dark Ether is going to play a role here. The Dark Ether is, made up of a lot of the past Ether elements, Ether maps, a lot of the past Ether stuff that we've seen, and it could come and bleed through the Dark Ether and corrupt this new story. So we could very well see a bunch of these past maps bleed through the Dark Ether and maybe even see Dark Ether versions of these past maps. So maybe it's not going to be a remake or remaster. It's more of going to be like a Dark Ether corrupted version of Mob of the Dead, or a Dark Ether corrupted version of Transit. And if that's the case, that would be very cool, very interesting to see. I feel like I'm gonna talk about that in a different video because there's a lot of different stuff they could do. If the Dark Ether is coming down and corrupting everything that we've known, they could add so many new elements to make things interesting, to make things different. So although it's a remake or a remaster, there's a whole new factor, there's a whole new element to it, because now we have the Dark Ether coming from above and corrupting everything that we've known. It could be really sick here. We're just gonna have to wait and see what they plan on doing. That's pretty much it for this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. That again was pretty much all the leaks we have for potential zombies maps coming to Black Ops Cold War Zombies. We'll see if we actually get any of this stuff. Again, Vietnam map, probably gonna happen. Transit, probably the most likely out of all the remakes and remasters. And then the other likely ones are Die Rise and Buried. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm hyped for this game, man. It's less than 10 days, kind of crazy. So hopefully you guys are hyped as well. Leave a comment below, zombies. If you watch the whole video, it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.